Oh,
I mean, does everybody get that treatment? Because that's pretty incredible. Like, that is absolutely. First of all, I do these all the time, by the way. I've never been more excited.
bro.
I've never been more excited to sit with two dudes that I love, two dudes that I know. I knew how their heart beats, who they are, what they are. I'm excited like crazy. But, man, what an intro. Golly, that took Hart at least 3 hours.
Buddy, since we met, I just thought, let's get an intro right. You know what I'm saying? So
Come on.
I can't thank you enough for being on here, buddy. We sure love you. It's going to be great.
Absolutely.
Can be crush time. I mean, Hart, you are like, and here's what I love, and Dave, this is true. That is AI free. That's like Chris, he's steroid free, AI free. You know what I'm saying? Like he just brings the juice without the supplements. You know what I mean?
I mean, just shirtless when we started this thing. Just coming in the room shirtless. That was amazing. But no, he's definitely never short on juice. That's, man. I mean, by the way, what greater compliment could someone give you? Seriously,
That's so true.
What greater compliment could someone say than every single day you show up? I just got a text from somebody. I did a documentary with Coach Rick, and it was about him and his life. And this guy texted me and he said, "You're the most intense person I've ever met." And I was like, thank you. But like we get to control that juice, right? Like we get to control whether we bring energy, excitement, and joy. Like that is 100% a choice. And I know something will come up in your day every day for you to give you the possibility to ruin that. But we choose whether we want to empower that. And I love that y'all don't do that, man. Forget that crap.
Come on. Well, it's your life. It's your opportunity. It's your next move. You know, so the great thing, and we're big on this, just even on this pod, and it's how you live your life and everything that you're doing. But you think about that and you get to bring it and we get to match it. We've talked about that. You know what I mean? Like if DP is going to bring that juice in spades, man, the guys around him want to do that. And I'm saying that from experience, but it's like, hey, we're playing guys, we're competing, we're coaching our kids. You get to decide how you come into that. And it really is an everyday decision. And I need you to speak to that as we kind of get going here as the new Everyday Counts expert. But that's just the reality of who we are. We serve a great God. It's infinite possibilities. Why would we approach it any other way?
Yeah, and if you think about one thing too, but one thing I've learned though about it is a good thing and it is a blessing, but it does come with other things too, right? Like because here's the bottom line. High achievers, high energy, they aren't necessarily liked by low achievers and low energy. Low achievers, low energy don't necessarily like high achievers and high energy. It's oil and water, right? It might not mix, and that's perfectly fine. Like, but you're going to cross paths with folks. But how about being a catalyst for somebody? And that's what you guys do so well. Like being a catalyst for somebody that puts lighter fluid on everything. Right? Like we're bringing more to this. We're going to bring more from this person. Like you want to surround yourself with those people, man, that they make you the best version of you, which means you're bringing juice, you're bringing energy, you're having fun. Listen, this world's going to be hard anyways. Like we ain't getting out alive regardless. So we might as well have a daggum good time, bro.
Come on. God, out of the gates, fellas. I mean, so listener, you have to understand what just happened. Like something happened. I've done quite a few podcasts from hosting to joining. I've had 200 podcasts that I've done. And every one of them, in every podcast I've ever done, the host and the guest have had shirts on. When I jumped in the studio here, we're doing this virtually. When I jumped in the studio, both Chris and Pollack both had their shirts off, ready to roll. I mean, you talk about some juice. So it started.
And we did not talk to each other. We had no clue.
Yeah, there was zero coordination. It's happened zero times to me, and it happened 2 times in the same day. And and this is why, I mean, you guys, Chris and I were talking before, you know, you kind of prep for interviews, and we just thought there's not a lot of prep because we're gonna bring it today. Pollack's gonna bring it today like you always do. So, man, I am so excited to have you. I'm also so excited that you read a book, which is your own. Was that the first? Like, where does how many books have you read?
First one without pictures. Yes. Yeah, no. I definitely, that is interesting though. That is, something, a part of this conversation that's good is like reading is not a natural thing for me. Like just getting still and sitting down is not something that I've always loved to do. But I have learned like, how can I do that and be the best version of me and accomplish that? Like I've learned now in my house, like, instead of having those downtimes where we just scroll, and which we will do, like I literally have a book in the kitchen now, And I'll have a book that I have on me and I'm just reading it. And I'm like, hey, we got a little downtime. Nobody's doing anything. And I'll just read through and I'll highlight and have a couple different things. And then, obviously trying to get it from here into here is always the next step for me, is like, that's cool. I like that. Now, how do I put this into my life? So then I like to transfer it. And I know y'all are adults. Like, these two dudes are adults, but like I found out about Google Docs literally when I started my See Ball Get Ball podcast. So that shows you how much schoolwork I did, but then transferring into there. But no, definitely not a natural reader. Like, that is not something that comes like, some people like that stuff a lot, and that definitely isn't me.
You have written a great book. I loved it. And that book is called Everyday Counts. It's just come out. It's a great book. And I want to start here, David. So it's called Everyday Counts. So I want to start with days. 7,221 days ago, you were lying motionless at Paul Brown Stadium after breaking your neck. So let me ask this, and this will kind of be the through line here through a few different things in your life. What do you do when everything you've been working toward goes away in a moment?
The fact that you knew the days is impressive. That's very impressive, by the way.
Took a long time to count that.
Yeah, that calculator had some work to do. You know what? What you do is you kind of sit in it first, just like I think any situation. There's no choice. You didn't ask for it, right? I didn't say like I'd like to sign up for a broken neck. That's not what I was shooting for. So I think you sit there in it. You're trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Your brain starts racing, right? Like, okay, how bad am I hurt? I've always been able to get up. Like I've had these stingers before that you have the pain that shoots down your arms. Like, had those before, get those all the time, but this is different. It's in both of them. I can't move my arms. I can't control them. So I think, you just start running through your brain, and then you start slowing your brain down, and then they start giving you information, right? And you start taking it in, and you go into the stadium and have an MRI, and it's like, hey man, you fractured your C6, C7. And I was like, cool, that's not too bad. And they're like, that means you broke your neck. And I was like, oh, that really sucks. Never mind. I didn't know it was that bad. But then I think you just start to process and understand, what you're going through. And I think that the fun thing about any situation is always like, okay, there's always a reason, right? Like, there's always a reason, and we don't know what it is, and I didn't know what it was, and I'll be honest, man. Since I was 4 years old, I knew I wanted to play in the NFL, and that's what I pursued, and that's what I chased. And honestly, if I'm being honest, deep down to my core, that was my God, and I say that because I pursued that more than I pursued God. Like, I worked harder on chasing football than I did on my relationship with the one who created me. That's not, and you know what you realize in a moment is sport makes a really horrible God. And so you got that in that moment. And then obviously, the recovery and everything that came with it, man, I've never had to be still. I've never had to sit around. I've never been obviously in a halo. I've always been an angel. I just didn't have the halo to go with it. But like, having all of that time now to be still. And the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. You know what's really, really cool, man? You go from a transactional relationship with God. I'll holler at you in the morning. I might holler at you before a meal, to I got a lot of time. God created a lot of space and a lot of opportunity. What was I going to do with it? How was I going to use it? And that's what, that's how it all started. And that's how God started to pull me in and be like, oh, wait, this is what a real relationship with God looks like.
Did you spend a lot of time kind of asking that why question? Did you have to sit in that very long, or did you get right after, let's move forward? What was that like?
I didn't. I'm not a why guy. I think one of the best things about being an athlete is you don't have time for that. Like, you don't have time. You fail and you line back up. You fail and you line back up. Like, you have to get used to getting beat. And then what is the next step? Oh, I got hurt. Like, I pulled my hamstring. Okay. I got to rest it. I got to ice. I got to do this. Okay. I'm out. I got to go. And then this is my plan. So to me, it wasn't about the why. And as I've gotten older too, I'm way less concerned about what happens to you. I'm only concerned about my response. And my response is like, okay, this is the reality. And the reality is I can't do anything. The reality is I'm in a halo. I'm in a neck brace. And I got a 2-year period where I can't do much. So to me, why has never helped anything. Why has never solved the problem. Why's never, now I think your why is important with whatever you pursue and whatever you do, but to say why me, that's not really something that I've ever used too much throughout my life. And if it does come up, then I try to get rid of it really, really quickly because I don't think it's of God.
So that's 20 years ago when that happened. Is that, and again, we're hearing you with the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of seeing it all play out. Is that,
which everything gets greater, as you get older, everything gets better, right?
I agree. But how was that really true? Like you're sitting in a halo. I mean, heck, even as I was reading the book, David, like I'm reading about the draft. And I couldn't help but think, knowing what was coming and thinking about the draft order, there had to have been a moment where you thought, well, gosh, if the Rams would have taken me, I probably wouldn't have a broken neck right now. You know what I mean? Like you think about all the things that led up to that moment. So is that truly, like, even in the moment where you weren't just like, God, why? Or even feeling like a little victim, I hate to say victimhood, but you know what I mean? Was that actually true in the moment?
Yeah. Well, I remember, I'll never forget my wife. My wife was like, hey, she's like, it's frustrating to me that Odell Thurman was our second round pick. One of my teammates, freaking awesome, stud muffin. He gave it away with drugs. She was like, it's really frustrating that he gave it away and you got it taken away. And I'll never forget when she said that. And I was like, yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. But I don't know, man. I can't control it. And I've never been one of those guys that are a worrier. Like I kind of said, okay, like this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to chase football and I'm going to try to recover. And if I can play, I want to play. Like I want to continue to chase my dreams and continue to make that a reality if I can do it. But then I got still and I started to build my relationship with God, and I became very comfortable with the fact that, like, I don't know what God has for me next, but I know it's going to be awesome. Like that I was very comfortable with. Like if God gave me football, which was the most amazing thing that I've ever done, like I loved football with everything in me. I thought I was built for football. Like I can't imagine what's next, and I know it's going to be great. So the controlling the uncontrollables, I couldn't do because I didn't have any say. And it's not like wrestling with God is going to change circumstances. I've learned that. I know one thing: you can dislocate a hip and blow out a shoulder wrestling with God, but it ain't going to get you nowhere, right? And to use the great Van Wilder, right? Like worrying's like a rocking chair; it'll give you something to do, but it won't get you nowhere. And I think to me, it was about putting that scripture over and over again, reading my Bible over and over again, and putting it in here, and then putting it in here, and it starts to come out of here, right? All throughout my day, all throughout my life, and then when those moments of those things that you might tend to worry about, like what does God say about that? So God was developing my relationship with Him, and I was developing a relationship with Him, and it was very easy to lean not on my own understanding, but to lean on His. And I kind of knew that He knows a lot better than me.
Yeah.
Take us through that a little bit. All of that happens. You've got a great mindset. You're moving forward. How quickly did you kind of transition into the broadcasting world? And for anybody that doesn't know, had a great run with College GameDay, but kind of speak to that a little bit. There's a big transition there.
Oh, it was a huge transition. Like you have that, 2-year period where you're trying to build yourself back up physically, figure out what you want to do. And I'll never forget, I was like, I called my agent and I was like, I'm watching this dude on TV talk and he's talking about X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I'm watching Mike and Mike in the morning. I remember I was watching Mike and Mike in the morning. I was like, these dudes freaking rock. Like they're awesome. Like they're just kicking it, talking about sport. I was like, I think I could do that. Like that looks like fun. And he was like, did you do that in college? Did you study that in college? I was like, no. I was like, I didn't study that, but I was like, I think it would be kind of cool to do it. And he was like, well, let me make a few calls. And I think people naturally think like, oh, you started at the top, and they kind of forget where you go and what you do and the grind you get to do it. But like we moved from Ohio to Atlanta, and I got a gig with 790 The Zone in Atlanta where it was radio. And let me tell you something. If you think you're good at speaking or good at reading, I'm not. Okay. So I had to read and speak. No, I'm saying in the beginning, it was very hard. Like There's a reason that my podcast is called See Ball, Get Ball. Like we're big, dumb animals. We play defense for a reason. The ball moves, you go get it. Like, right. It's that simple. And so to articulate your thoughts, and then guess what? Not just know about your team, know about everybody's team and everything that's going on. Like I'll never forget. I was frustrated and I was like, man, I got so much to learn and so much I got to do. And I was like, okay, You're a freshman in high school again, or college again. You're a freshman. And this is where the book comes in. This is where I never knew I did this until I got older. The book says, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. When I got to the University of Georgia, man, I'll never forget. I go from fullback to defensive tackle, and I'm like, I'm getting all of these coaching points. Hey, man, fire off the ball with a short step as quick as you can, as low as you can. Get your hands inside, disengage violently, go find the football. Oh, sure. Anything else? Like, you got anything else? Because that was easy to process. Like, and I'll never forget, man. I told my GA, I was like, hey, Earl, I'm going to get off the rock as fast as I can. I'm going to get off the rock like a scalded dog. And I'm going to take a short first step. But everything else, dude, I'm out on. I'm going to try. And if I get it right, I'll get it right. But I'm going to get the foundational piece of this down pat. And so I started where I was at. And I used what I could, right? And did what I can. I couldn't do it all. And so I think I took that into my next step with broadcasting. It's like, all right, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And I'll never forget watching other guys in the space. I'm like, oh, okay, they do a good job of this. They do a good job of that. Oh, I don't like that. For example, Lou Holtz, God rest his soul. I know he just passed on, but I remember listening to Lou, and Lou was like, every time he talked about Arkansas or South Carolina or Notre Dame, every time he did, he picked them. Every single time he picked him, and every single time he did, I tuned him out. I was like, I'm not listening to him. So I literally said, when I do this, I'm not gonna tell you how great Georgia is every time I do this. Now, Georgia fans, they get pissed at me and they call me Benedict Arnold. I'm a traitor because God forbid I pick against them, right? But like, I started to look around and see, why was somebody good? But moving to 790 The Zone, I did SEC Gridiron Live in Atlanta from the late nights. And I'll never forget, I got a call because I was friends with Herb Street in Ohio because I was with the Bengals. He lived in Ohio. And he was like, hey, man, I was flipping through the channels. And he was like, and I saw SEC Gridiron Live. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, dude, you're pretty good. He was like, I like your passion. And I like the way you were all involved. You were engaged. And I was like, what a lesson for everybody out there, though. Like, I'm doing this show. I'm getting paid nothing. But because I was doing this show and because I was doing this show, I was there. Like, be where your feet are. Like, the grass is greenest where you water it. Where are you at? Like, win where you're at right now. I know you got big plans for the future, but we got to win today, making every day count, right? Like, so because I had the ability and I was doing that, like Kirk set me up with ESPN and then, the rest is, I'll never forget sitting down with an agent before I got on ESPN. He was like, hey man, what do you want to do? I said, why not College GameDay? And he was like, it's the best show on television. And I was like, yeah, that'd be fun to be a part of that. He was like, that's the best show on television. You just started this thing. And 3 years later, man, I'm on College GameDay. Like, and again, I had to go to ESPNU and screw up and figure it out and do some late night stuff and figure out who I was. But like, don't let people tell you what you can and can't do because God can do amazing things if you'll trust and if you'll work. Like, you got to put in the work too.
Man, I'm curious in that you talked about somebody's being where your feet are. That's something Chris says this all the time, and I love it. And we had an episode on stewardship, which is just asking that question: what's in my hand? That and again, that's where your feet are. What do I have right now to steward really, really well? And one of the principles that you talk about that I love that you break down in the book is that 50-40-10 principle. Will you break down 50-40-10 for us?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's applicable for business or any area or any walk of your life. But like, think about how awesome this is. Whatever you're pursuing, whatever you're chasing, 50% of the people in this world, you can outwork. You can show up and outwork. So I like my odds, guys. I don't know how big of a numbers guy you are, but if I cut out half the field, I feel pretty good about the direction I'm going. So if I've left 50% behind, the next is 40. Like 40% of people you can out detail, you out organize. Like, so for example, when it came to football, details of watching tape. How about the details of my body? Like what I put in my body, recovery, stretching, all those little things that add up to take me across the finish line. I mean, those are the things that you can literally do because you're process driven. You're thinking about those things. You're making a conscious decision to what does it look like to be successful? What are those margins that I can gain? So now 50% of people I've left behind. The other 40%, I left 90% behind, and I ain't mentioned talent yet. I haven't mentioned talent one time. Like now I'm in the nitty gritty now, bro. I'm with the people that have worked hard, that show up every day. I'm with the people that have been organized and detailed, motivated, passionate about what they do. You better be a freaking dog. Like this is now I'm Terminator, man. Like I'm getting shot every day, but I'm moving forward. How do I handle adversity? How do I handle failure? Lessons, not losses, bro. Like what can I take from this? Not being discouraged. Not being, oh man, poor, pitiful me. Like I've done all of this though. I've done all of this hard work and all this organization and I should win. No bull crap. Why did you lose? What do I need to fix? Like, but you better dang sure be a dog and be willing to handle hard really, really well and that adversity really, really well. So, that's the 50-40-10 that I think anybody could take in any walk of life, whatever they're trying to be very successful at.
God, fires me up.
Hart's never heard that before. You like that, don't you, Hart?
I like that.
So good.
Well, and we talked grit a little bit, and it's that whole idea: talent plus effort equals skill. And then even when we're skilled, skill plus effort equals achievement. Right?
You know what I found though? Hart, what people don't understand, and specifically, I think specifically to sport too, but I think in life. Here's the thing about that. I think effort is a talent.
I like that.
That's real good.
I think effort 1,000% is a talent. I look at all these kids and you break down all these tapes and you're doing all these things and projecting to the future. And all these guys continue to fall through the cracks because of a couple things. Because effort is a talent. Eyes are a talent. Heart is a talent. Like those are things we do, these broads and verticals and all this stuff. And that's great. But like you can't measure the processor. You can't measure the engine, right? But like that effort and that heart, man, there is a lot of talent in that. That is a talent that you get to steward. You're talking about steward, right? Like I get to steward that. That is a great thing that God has given me that's placed in me. Don't discount that. Like it's an awesome thing that some people, man, really, really get. And when they get it and they understand it, it's like, holy cow, like they go to a nuclear level.
So I want a question on that. By saying that effort is a talent, which I love, are you saying that that's innate? Like that, like you either have it or you don't, that effort, or is that something you can develop?
No, you 100% can develop it,
okay.
But I do think I do think that the talent of giving effort. Y'all coach youth league sports, and you've seen your kids compete. Like there are some kids that they get it. They get the level of effort, and most of them don't. Most of them have no clue. Most of them think they're trying really, really hard. And that's the hardest part of being a coach, honestly, is like they think they're giving their all, but they aren't. And then there's some kids that fly around, everything's disconnected, and it's like, let's just go and let this thing rip. Like, woohoo, no consequences. But here's the thing. If we take away fear of failure, what I found with kids, you take away that fear of failure, you'll get better effort. Because a lot of times it's like, I don't want to mess up. And I don't want to mess up is not giving great effort. I don't want to mess up is not a place to lead from strength or to go win from strength. I don't want to mess up is coming from weakness. Like I'm going to go get this is coming from strength. And so I think like just having that ability to take it away, but no, your effort, the people around you dictate your effort. The people around you will hold you accountable with effort. But effort is definitely something that you're going to make a choice. Like you're going to make a choice to activate that. Some people just have it at a higher level that can bring that every single day. And by the way, it looks different. It smells different. It lives different every day.
I love that in the combine. Well, they'll say he's got a motor, right? This guy over here takes plays off. This guy's got a motor. That's the effort as a talent, right? And I think that's a cool point, Joey. Absolutely can be developed, cultivated, created, but need probably the right coach, the right people, the right atmosphere to kind of get that going. We got a whole lot of people that are okay with somebody's 80%. Nobody ever gets to 100%, so there's never actually an increase in the capacity.
But that's what you do so great with coaching. That's why Braves coaches are ridiculous, insane. That's why I use Chris Hart, is because there is effort inside of me, but a lot of times it's wasted effort and it's ADD effort. Ding, 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 right? Like all over the place, like squirrel, something shiny, right? But like, okay, how do I get this alignment going in the right direction, right? Like if I want to be the greatest 3-point shooter on the planet, I might need to align towards the goal. It's a heck of an idea. Like, so to get that started, and another thing too, man, like how do you climb a mountain one step at a time? Yeah, got that. Get it. Sure. Climb the mountain one step at a time. You know what happens too? A lot of times you get to the top of the mountain, you're like, oh crap, bro, I meant to climb that one. I'm on the top of the wrong mountain, wrong mountain, right? Like, so that is obviously something that, yes, those people around you, man, and the accountability, if we can create that accountability, and every day counts too. Like my thing is, how do we create that scoreboard? Because here's another thing I know about Chris and Joey. If there's a winner and loser, we going to try to get that, right? And so creating a scoreboard in life of, did I win? Did I lose? Tangible ways to measure my life and my goals and what I'm trying to accomplish. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, just kind of float through life. Everything's peach. Everything's peachy. We're good. Like, okay, well, it's kind of hard to get better when we don't know what we're trying to get better at, right? Like that's really difficult.
So good. Well, okay, so Dave, I'm curious for the. I love when we talk grit. I love when we talk effort, and we talk in heroic terms. And this is a few times I brought this up, but when it comes to something like marriage, and all of a sudden you got a 5 and a 3-year-old and it's hectic around your house and things going crazy and it doesn't feel as heroic. How do you apply that same level of grit, determination, scoreboard, all that mentality to something that's really hard to measure in a very thankless moment in season of life? Because a lot of people who are listening are probably in that season. Like, how do you apply everything you're talking about to those things that are not as glamorous, like marriage or raising kids, especially when you're in kind of the wartime years of their young years?
I think it's pivotal to understand where the heck you're at. Like any relationship, like you're trying to bring somebody to faith, like I got to understand where they're at. I got to meet them where they're at. Like we're meeting our families, we're meeting our friends, people that we interact with. We got to meet them where they're at. Like a 5 and a 3-year-old is totally different. We're herding cats. Right? Like this is a totally different place. I got a soon to be 18-year-old and a 16-year-old in my house now. Like my conversations are totally different. But let me tell you something. The one thing that is a non-negotiable, no matter where you're at, is that bride next to you is your number one.
Yeah.
That is your number one relationship. And how you love her sets the tone. It sets the temperature in your household. Like that is number one. How do you tangibly do that? My least favorite question that I can hear on this earth is that you'll ask your kids or your bride. This is my least favorite question. How are you doing? It's a wasted question. How was your day? Here's what you're going to get. Good. Good. You know what I love to ask my baby doll? What are you at a 10? What are you at a 10? Where are you at today? Where are you at on that scale, baby doll? Like, I love that question, man, because it's putting a number on it. And let me tell you something. The last 2 years for us, there's been some bad ones. Okay, we've had some really bad days, but like it's really awesome right now when I get an 8. I love getting an 8, baby. Like I love that. We rejoice. We celebrate an 8. Like that is a great thing. But I know where she is. But when it's a 5, I got to step my game up, man. I got to do more. I got to help more. I got to support more. I got to come beside her. And the one thing I've realized the last couple of years, just how freaking selfish I am. Like when you are the man of a household, you don't come first. Yeah, you don't come second. Like that's part of being a man. Your wife comes first. Your kids come next. Like you aren't the center of this universe. Like you are the head of it. And there's some amazing research, by the way, like in how men and when they're leading their families properly, the difference they can make, man. Like when a kid comes to Christ, for example, 3% of the time their family will come to Christ. When a mom comes to Christ, 9% of the time their family will come to Christ. When a man comes to Christ, 93% of the time the family will come to Christ.
Wow.
You were born with an innate ability. You were born with a deeper voice. Your words matter more. Like your words weigh more. That's just part of the deal, man. It weighs more than mom. It weighs more than other folks. Like, so how are we going to steward that where they are? It better start with mama. And then it starts with, listen, the behaviors and where kids are at. When a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, like there's going to be temper tantrums. There's going to be all kinds of things that you don't like. That's fine. But let's also understand, this is their first time living. This is their first time experiencing. When they experience frustration, how they let it out, well, it's a good thing we experience frustration. That's going to be part of a lifelong journey of experiencing frustration. But like, I think setting the rhythms of your household is the most important thing. Understanding what we are as a family and making decisions before we make choices. That's one of my big things. And like, make the decision of who we are, what our family is, what it stands for. Because then guess what? When the choices come up throughout the day, those are easy, man. Those aren't hard. I've already made the decision to be a virgin till I was married. I made that decision when I was younger. When temptation comes in, it's just an easy choice now. I've already made the decision. Alcohol is not something that's going to be in my life. Gambling is not going to be something that's in my life. If I come into situations where there's a little temptation, I've already made the decision. Now just make the choice. But the choice becomes so much easier. So I don't really know, Joey, if I answered your question, but I talked too much.
Here's what I know. I know that the low point of this interview was Enter Sandman. Like, I thought that was the peak, and it's like that was the low point. Come on, DP. Bro, unreal.
Well, think about this, too. It's almost like there's an epidemic. You've got, especially high-level guys, people getting after it. And we go to work, and you've created a position, if you will. And so now you've got a whole lot of people that are serving you all day, making sure you're taken care of, bringing you a coffee. How can I help you? And then we come home and there's a frustration because instead of taking on the role of I am here to serve my family, God first, everybody else second, I'm third. If we would take that, that's how the family works. But it's contrary to the rest of our lives, because we worked so hard to achieve things so that people wait on us, and then it's not the case when we come home. So that's the disconnect. But if we're doing exactly what you're saying, Pollack, where it's like, no, I am here to serve this house, it removes that. We can actually function our role of authority as a leader in our home.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean we'll be perfect at it. Like, and that is a complete switch, right? If I go from being the boss or, working all day and people are answering to me, like, you got to turn that part of your brain off, right? Like that, but that driveway time and that ride home, like, that's a good opportunity to be praying for this. And here's the thing. How many of y'all come home exhausted from a hard day's work? All of us, right? Like, we've all come home exhausted. Like, but guess what? When we're there, we need to be there.
Yeah.
Right. And that means setting the temperature of your house when it comes to cell phones, when it comes to those different things and those different rhythms, like what you accept. But like, I got to turn all that off. I got to I might be Mr. College GameDay guy and people might want pictures and you might be a football player and all that crap. You come home, your dad, take the trash out. You come home, your dad, you're doing dishes, right? Like, And I think if we can understand that sometimes, that's sometimes why we feel like, why is there a disconnect at home, or why does it not run smoothly? It's because of what you just said, man. We've got to think about it that way, and we've got to take on that responsibility that might be a lot different than you do at work.
Well, one thing I love about everything you're talking about here is what you just talked about basically was from work to home. It's just a mindset shift. It's understanding, again, starting where you are. But what you do, and you've described it in football, is you are constantly, can you simplify? Can you quantify? Simplify, quantify. So simplifying, here's my job at home. It's that simple. People may listening may be like, oh, you don't know my marriage. I don't. But if you can simplify it to its most basic level, make it as simple as possible. And then to your point, I think that the reason why I love that 1 out of 10 question, Chris, I've heard you ask that a bunch too, is that, hey, let's just quantify exactly where it is, because then I know what to do with it. So it doesn't, man, marriage is hard, raising kids is hard and all that kind of stuff. But if you can simplify and then you can quantify, then you can then figure out, okay, what do I need to do next? Because that's the question. What do I do now with where my feet are planted?
Yeah. And parenting is hard, man. Golly. 17 and 16 is a whole nother level of appreciation for parenting. That's for dang sure.
Feel you.
Hey, let's go there for a minute. You've got a unique perspective on being a sports parent.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go here a little bit? Like mindset
Absolutely.
before a game, the car ride after the game. There's a whole lot we could unpack here, but we've had some of these great conversations. Let's expose some of that. We've got unbelievable. It's this multi-billion-dollar industry, travel sports, the whole thing, high expectations. I think my kid's a D1 prodigy. It's great. But give us a couple highlights, Pollack. If you're encouraging sports parents today, what are a couple things we need to think about?
You probably don't have any take on this, do you, Dave?
No take. I encourage sports. I think sports is awesome. I think it's great for every kid. I think it's good to be busy. I just don't want that to compromise what my family projection looks like. And what does my heart really beat for? And what is the main focus of my family? Sport is awesome. I'm not denying sport is awesome. I'm just saying if it's because of it, it's because I think I have to do this and I have to do that. Like, you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You don't have to play on a specific team. Like, you can choose what you fit into. For example, I'll never forget. Well, actually, I'll just use current. My baby girl's 15. She just turned 16. Last year, she played on a national travel ball team. It was awesome. It was great. My wife and we were dealing with her health stuff, so we weren't traveling much, and she was traveling a good bit. This year, we're like, hey, baby girl, we're not traveling all over the place again. Like, you did that, and you got to do that, which was awesome, but you had a ride from your teammate who played in the organization, and so that's why we kind of did it and let you do it. You know, that we're not going to be that. We're going to be at home. And guess what? This year, this is about Nicholas's sports. Nicholas is about to be a senior, and he's going to go on visits, and we're going to go. Like, this is what we're going to do. He's going to be the priority. And, you know, I just see a lot of sports where these kids are young, man, and we're doing all summer sports, and we're like two ships passing in the night with families and parents, and we're breaking up from our family all the time, and you're dividing and conquering. And I get it. Sport is awesome. But it can't be that every day of the week. It can't be that 5 days of the week, man. Like, we've got to we're addicted to busyness. We're addicted to noise. If you need proof, when you come home from a busy day of work, what do? You come home and you turn on the television. I need to be entertained, or I scroll in my phone. Like, I love busyness. I love noise, and I just get so accustomed to it. And we got to set the rhythms of our family. We got to set who we want to become. And if your kid is a good athlete, that's awesome. That's great. Like, but we can still stay close to home and play up a few grades if that's really important to you. Like, we don't have to travel the world. Just because you're traveling the world doesn't guarantee anything. And here's the last thing. When I got to Georgia, Chris, I was not the best athlete. I was not the tallest. I was not the strongest. I really wasn't the anythingest. I really wasn't. But you know what? My family, when I grew up, man, we played sports. I rode my bike. I went through the neighborhood. I never had a personal trainer. I didn't have a personal coach. When I got to Georgia, I was like, man, football's a lot of fun. And I'll never forget, like, we got to go work out in the weight room. We got to go crush weights and run around. I was like, this is pretty awesome. And I had so many of my teammates that were like, dude, this sucks. I've been doing this for like 12 years now. I'm so tired of lifting and grinding. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't do any of that. Like, we had to work out on a board at Shiloh High School. And if you had time to come in the summer, you could come in. Literally, we had it on a board. And God gave me big legs and booty and a chip on my shoulder and you know, a spirit of competitiveness. Like, that's why I made it to where I made it. But I think a lot of parents think that we have to be in a certain system. We have to do a certain thing to get them to the next level. I can serve this really, really quickly, and I'll shut up.
Come on.
Here's the kids that are best when they're young, the aggressive ones. Here's the kids that are best in middle school, who has hair under their arms, okay? And here's who's the best in high school, who's hit puberty. Or I'm sorry, who's hit puberty in middle school. Here's how we can decide who the best is in high school, genetics. Like, Nicholas Pollack is 6'3", 225 pounds. He's got a 39-inch vertical. He's got a broad jump of X, Y, and Z. Like, he's getting recruited by colleges. Yeah. That's why he's getting recruited by colleges. Nicholas Pollack went to one camp in his life. We never spent our summers at camps, like going and chasing, going and doing. We played football at the school. Like, we made the workouts when we could. But if we want to go on a family trip and go make memories and experiences, absolutely. Nicholas, when he was playing travel basketball when he was little, we practiced in our gym. Hart's been in our gym and played in our gym. We practiced in our gym, and Nicholas went to church because church is a non-negotiable in our house. Now, listen, let me be very, very clear about that. When I say that, will we miss church? Very, very infrequently. But we are going to be, I love when I get to tell baby girl, and I've done it twice this year in both tournaments. I'm like, baby girl, listen, I know you love basketball, but it's Sunday. What does our family do on Sunday? We go to church. Exactly right. Like, there's no greater gift than I can give her is to tell her, like, baby, this is God's day. And if we can make basketball fit in this, I'm all for it now. Like, we're going to go. We'll fly from church and we'll go fast. But how are we going to we're going to start our week in the best way we know how. And all that is serving the King. That's how we know that's the best we can do. And I love it, Chris, because I even gave, and Joey, I gave baby girl a choice a couple weeks ago. I was like, baby, we've been to church consistently. I was like, if you want to go to this tournament and play, I was like, you can miss church. And she was like, church is more important.
Wow.
And I'm like, let's get weird. That is fantastic. I loved hearing that from a 16-year-old who wants to play college basketball and wants to go be great at her sport. There's no greater gift I can give her.
Let me but I'm not going to push back on church because I love that. But let me push back on just a little bit. This is just playing a little devil's advocate because I am aligned with you here. But
dude, you can always push back. It doesn't bother me.
The question is, earlier you said 50% is outwork. And
yes.
so I want to help. This is actually for the listener who's trying to reconcile those two things, which is you were innately genetically gifted. And so you didn't necessarily have to outwork growing up. So what about the kids out there who are saying like, whose kids are pushing them or parents are pushing them, or they actually want to be like, man, I want to play a bunch of sports. I want to grind. How do you reconcile that idea of what you just said, which was you got the were you genetically gifted or not in high school versus the fact that you have to 50% of the game is outworking? Does that question make sense?
It's a great question because where is the line, right? Like you want your kids to be successful. You want them to grind, but it's also our job to create boundaries. So here's the thing. That age ain't 8. That age ain't 9. That age ain't 10. That age ain't 11. That age ain't 12. That age ain't 15, for gosh sakes. They don't know what they want. My least favorite thing when I talk to parents about some of this stuff is they'll be like, but my kid really, really wants it. They have that innate desire. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's cool. For example, I'll never forget, Joey. My son came to me as a sophomore in high school and he was like, Dad, I think I can do this. I was like, you think you can do what? I think I can play in the SEC. Like, I think I can play at Georgia. I was like, awesome. That's pretty cool, bro. That's dirty. And he was like, will you train me? Will you be my coach? Will you be my trainer? I said, buddy, I love you with everything in you. I said, I love you with all my heart, with everything in me. I said, absolutely not. I said, because I want to be dad. I don't want to be your trainer. I don't want to be your driving force in sport. I want to have conversations about Jesus. I want to have conversations about your girlfriends. I want to have conversations about the other stuff. Here's the thing. We're making sport the main thing, the driving force, the numero uno all the time. We're always doing. We're creating an environment of, how about this? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And again, this was from experience in our household, playing multiple sports at a time. Why? Why do we do it? Why do we we did it one year. We did basketball, travel basketball and baseball. And it was the stupidest decision we ever made for our family because we're deciding to go all over the place to make ourselves busy. Bro, we're going to be okay. You should play multiple sports year round. I'm good with that. Like, let your kids experience all the different things. Joey, there'll be a time when it's grind season. It's not at 8. It's not at 9. It's not at 10. It's not in freshman year of high school. It's not sophomore year of high school. I think when you get to be a junior in high school, you start to realize a little bit about who you are, about what you are. My son always told me, I want to be a hooper. I'm going to be a basketball player. I want to play in the NBA. Cool. We played basketball. That's fine. We also played football. When you're only 6'3", but you're 225, it's a good deal. It works out really well for football. But if we made the choice to play basketball year round when he was 7 years old, he would have never had a chance to play football. I think that's the part where when it's so young, it's not a grind when we're young, man. It's fun. F-U-N. It's fun. It's something you do. It's not who you are. It can't be everything. It can't be the only thing that we're always pursuing, always doing, or else our family doesn't have fun or we don't have direction.
I will, just for someone listening to this, David, there's not been an individual in my life who has spoken more life in this subject for me. I remember calling you multiple times and saying
we had some great combos,
some great ones. I remember I was standing in Boston talking to you. I walked by that a couple weeks ago when we were there, and it sparked back that memory. And I actually think that those conversations have preserved my sons and my relationship. I really do. I was at a point, I believe, where I could have gone way the other way, and my son could have been the greatest tennis player in Knoxville, but he also wouldn't have a relationship with his dad. And I decided at that point, I'm going to dial it back. And now here we are. He's going to be a senior He's leaning towards not playing tennis in college, which I'm so excited about for him to make that decision on his own. And guess what? He doesn't hate his dad, right?
Amen.
And so I'm just telling you again, back to simplify. I know people don't like this feeling when we talk about kids sports. I know you had a post
it's polarizing.
You had a post on Twitter the other day. It got massive engagement. You just said, "Hey, keep your summers as a family." Like like people went nuts on that. But this will preserve the most important things. This is me saying thank you because I really
only way. Well, you welcome. But the only way, man, here's the thing that's really, really hard. Like true wisdom is when you can learn from someone else's mistakes. And that's why I speak up about this, because I did it wrong. Like I did it wrong for a number of years. I remember when my son was 9 years old. Like I literally remember the exact moment when we went and played football against a crosstown team to challenge ourselves because I wanted to go prove a point that we were really, really good. We got beat down, and the whole car ride home, an hour and a half home, I didn't say a word. And my wife was like, "You made the car ride miserable." I'm like, "Baby doll, I didn't say a word." And she was like, "Exactly." And she was like, "You know what Nicholas wanted? Nicholas wanted frozen yogurt on the way home because we don't do ice cream in our house. He wanted frozen yogurt." But like, and it was just a aha moment. But like, you know, we're going to have a relationship with our kids, hopefully well beyond. The truth of the matter is, man, I've seen it way more. I've seen at a 90% clip with the kids that we've grown up with, that if they've put so much into this, man, when they get to high school, they quit. They don't even care. And you've spent all this time building, pursuing, let's go get private lessons. Let's go chase this. Let's go chase this. And you literally are going to look back and be like, I wasted so much time. So much time on something that really doesn't matter. So let's do the best we can about building family memories, like being together as much as possible, building character, getting our butt in church. Like, I'm not saying not to play sports, and neither is Joey. Nobody is. But like, to have a perspective of sports is something that we get to play. It's awesome. It's just not everything. And our schedule is not going to revolve around every single activity. And guess what? My daughter's a really good basketball player, and she's going to go play college basketball. It's not going to change her journey. The fact that I was late to games or that we didn't go to tournaments, like that's not, and guess what? When your kid's pretty good, or when your kid's got a good team and a good leader, they're going to be okay with it. I remember forget last year with her national team, like I was like, "Hey, you know, you said to be here at X." I was like, "We're going to be at church." So like, and we were in South Carolina, but guess what? We found a church. There's a lot of churches in South Carolina. There's a lot of churches across the country that we can go and still, we can be in God's house on a Sunday, even though we went out of town.
Unbelievable. Let's do this. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and this is how we'll close it out. Okay. The first one's going to be big and wide open. Okay. We're going to go to the depths of David Pollack's mind, and it's simply going to be this.
Scary place.
Hey, we've been in there a little bit. Okay. You can get lost there. You can have a good time in there. It's all the above.
It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Oh, it's wild.
It's awesome.
Blue floating people and the whole thing. But so here's the deal. You get to say something to America. It's your spotlight, and it's a 30-second challenge, Pollack. There's no stipulation on the direction. This is David Pollack raw, and you're going to challenge America with something. Where are you taking it?
Shoot your shot, man. Like, don't wait till it's perfect. Don't wait till you've dotted every single I and crossed every T, man. Like, go and do and watch what God does. God will come beside you, and he will crystallize every journey that you go down, and you'll figure out where you're supposed to be. But you can't walk on water if you don't get out of the boat, right? Like, you got to get out of the boat. You've got to go. Faith is active. It's living. It's breathing. Like, you've got to do the work to go with it. So don't be worried about everything being perfect, man, and that gun always being cocked and loaded in the right direction. It's never going to be. It's never going to be. It's going to be full of failure. Like, continue to use that failure and fail forward.
Crushed it. I think that was right at 30 seconds too. We can check that, but that was perfect.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. And then number 2.
That's the biggest shocker, that I could do something in 30 seconds.
All that being said, the way that we finish every episode, we're going to live this brave and big life. Okay. But it starts with a small step. If you want to take that and get it, but what would you tell the people? What's the small step? If you're going to put in a 7-day incremental this is what I'm doing right now. Here's my next step to this great life. What do you have for them?
Well, I think you got to let's figure out what those important things are for you. I talked about making decisions over choices. Like, what are the things you really, really want to stand for? What are the things that are most important to you? And let's do this for the next 7 days. Let's text ourselves before we go to bed. 3 non-negotiables. 3 things like, bro, we are going to do, not if, when. We're going to do them tomorrow. And one thing I learned from Chris Hart, if you're selfish in the morning, you can be selfless the rest of the day, right? Like, you've got to do it early because there's always circumstances. The world's coming, okay? Busyness is coming. Let's get those 3 things done. It doesn't have to be work driven. It can be family driven. Like, my daughter is a physical touch girl. It's very weird now at 16 with my daughter. It was much easier when I was younger, but just putting down a goal is like, hey, I'm going to accomplish her physical touch love language today by just coming beside her a couple of times and wrapping my arm around her and telling her I'm proud of her. Right? Like that's an easy step, an easy goal. A conversation that needs to be had with somebody, like for work, something that needs to be drawn up. Like, make those small little goals. Create the scoreboard. Because then when you go to bed the next night, I took an L or I got a W, and that needs to matter.
David, I'll tell you this, man, and for anybody listening, the world needs your voice. And so for people who are listening and you're planning a men's conference, David Pollack needs to speak at it. Hey, for those of you who are looking for a great book, I got it right here. Go buy this book, Every Day Counts. It is fantastic. The juice that you bring, man, people need it because what it does, I even feel it in myself, like it infuses confidence that it's possible. So all of a sudden, I think I've been working at 100, but I've been really been working at 60, and now I can push it to 70. And I just want to encourage you, bro. Like, one, and another thing, See Ball, Get Ball is by far the best sports podcast out there. I love college football, but I'm not like a deep X's and O's guy. But man, I'm telling you, I learn something every time. You're pretty favorable to my Sooners, which I kind of like. Maybe you like BV, but like,
I mean, they're pretty good.
They're pretty solid. That helps. But bro, like you break it down. So I'm just telling you, for everybody listening, please consume every bit of David Pollack content you can, because this is the voice I want to hear. This is the voice that I want to challenge me to bring life, to speak life. If you can get him to speak, please do all that stuff. So all of that said, if someone's saying like, bro, I want David to come speak, I want to buy the book, like where can people go? We'll put this in the show notes too, but like, how can people make sure that they're staying connected to your voice and can get you at their events?
First of all, thank you very much for the kind words. The worst part ever is always, hey, go to davidpollack.com. Like, isn't that that's the lamest thing on the planet? But like that's where you can go.
You got to lock down bigdog.com. That's what you need to do.
Maybe that's better.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
They told me, they're like, you need to attach your name to it. I'm like, like, do we have to? Like, it's not. It feels very bad when you have to say that. But then you can get the book anywhere you get books. But davidpollack.com, you can see all the stuff we're going on, and you can see the C-ball skip ball set. Like, it's right here behind us. It's fantastic. So hey, I actually need to text BV in Oklahoma and tell them, like, hey, we put helmets up that are behind here. So
come on,
you send a helmet, they go right there on that wall.
Pollack, we love you. We're proud of you. You are a great voice. You're a great dad, great husband. Let's do this again soon. But man, we got your back.
Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all, because y'all have absolutely been a part of my journey, my story, getting me to exactly where we're at, because you know as good as well as I do, it ain't one person that's going to get you there. Like, Jesus could have done it by himself. He chose to do it with 12, right? Like, we need men in our lives that are going to poke us, prod us, challenge us. Like, they're going to help us become the best version of ourselves. So thank y'all for being some of those men in my life.
Okay, real quick, Triple S for us. Subscribe, share, star, give us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Brave and Big. Brave and Big is produced by Sonus Podcast and the brilliant Miles Albritton. We will see you next week.